I could feel my chest kind of start tightening up. I felt like I couldn't breathe. Hey y'all, it's Sora'e. So I wanted to come on here and create this video because I just finished experiencing anxiety attack. I'm pretty sure that one was. It happened no less than probably like 20 minutes ago, and it happened yesterday as well. I feel obligated to kind of come on here and talk about it because it's something that, you know, so many of us experience, but it's also something that's normalized so often that the importance of it is kind of overlooked. And I'm no expert or professional in any type of way. I am a student in a mental health counseling program, as I mentioned in my first video, but as of right now, I'm just talking from my experience purely. I wanted to mention or talk about the onset of what I felt the beginning of this attack. Basically, I started to feel super overwhelmed. I could almost feel the blood pretty much rushing to my body, like up against, I don't know, it's hard to describe, not up against my skin, but I just felt, I guess, pretty warm, and I felt like everything was moving a lot faster than I was. I could feel my chest kind of start tightening up. I felt like I couldn't breathe. I started thinking about all of the worst things, and then I started to think about when I was happy and when I felt good, and I couldn't understand why I started to feel so down. I was very confused, and I just really started to struggle breathing. The same thing happened yesterday around a similar time, actually, and as of right now it's about 6:41 right now. So that happened. I do have a service animal who, well, she's almost a service animal, but she comes over to me usually when this happens, and she'll nibble on my fingers and she'll lick on my hands, and she pretty much attempts to calm me down. In certain moments, I kind of just let it overtake me because I'm so tired of trying to fight it off. I do feel like, I don't know, a part of me feels like I may have had a panic attack, and the others were anxiety attacks that I had today, because in those moments I felt like I was just gonna pass out and die. I felt like I just wasn't going to be living anymore, and there was no real explanation as to why. It was just like my time, I guess. Like, that's what it felt like. It's a very scary experience, and when I searched online about it, a lot of things, like people's stories came up, but I don't feel like before people's stories came up, basically there were a lot of like facts and fun facts and stuff from like 5 years ago and 7 years ago, like just old things, and I felt like there aren't enough like new things on the topic, and maybe because it's so normalized, I don't really know. But I feel like mental health isn't, like, it's portrayed as being important and it's said it's important, but when it comes to the people around you, all around me, I can't speak for you guys, but I don't feel like everyone fully gets the extent of the importance of it, like of mental health, and the importance of understanding an anxiety attack and a panic attack and knowing the difference. Excuse me, because I don't quite, like, I can't differentiate the two right this second. So I was editing and I felt like this could probably be a good point for you guys to maybe drop down below what you think the difference is between an anxiety and a panic attack. But I feel like it's super important because, you know, for me in those times, it's really hard to call someone or to call on someone and say, like, hey, I'm feeling this way, or hey, this happened. And sometimes people not understanding, like, what that is or what, like, how it feels, it starts to feel like you're more alone in reaching out. So sometimes you just sit through it by yourself. And I keep saying you, but by you, I'm speaking in general, and I'm speaking about my own experience. So it is my hopes and wishes that we as a society can be more open about these things and talk about them, because it's important to be able to identify them, to know what's going on. And for someone who doesn't know what's going on, it's very scary. For me, I somewhat am aware, but at the same time, in those moments, like, I'm freaking out. I really don't know what's going on. But definitely afterwards, I'm pretty easily able to identify what that is. Whereas there are some individuals out there who don't know what they're experiencing at all, because, you know, it's not talked about. It's not talked about throughout their families. It's not talked about or taught in school, really. You really don't know about it until you experience it and maybe explain it to somebody. And then they're like, oh, that was an anxiety attack. Or, oh, you had a panic attack. You're like, oh, that's what that was. But for the most part, it's like a feeling that you've never felt before. And it can be very scary to experience it. So that's basically it on this video of mine. I hope that it could comfort someone out there. For the most part, it's going to remain unedited because this, like I said, it happened a couple minutes ago. So I felt like it was the perfect opportunity to come and, like, have a vulnerable moment with you guys. Because, you know, sometimes also when these videos come out, they're like, I don't know, I feel like sometimes people are in a better mind state, so, like, the way that you talk about it, the importance of it you might not understand it as well as, you know, someone who's just finished experiencing it. So that's it. Thank y'all for watching. Stay tuned for more.